go ahead, Izu. It's your turn.
Malcolm Gladwell, in his book calls it desirable difficulty, right? Desirable difficulty is a theory that for you to be successful, you have to, if there's no difficulty around you, maybe everything works for you, there's God's grace, your family left you with trust fund, that if you must be more successful, you must now impose difficulty. Naturally, the world is a difficult place, but maybe some people have cushions that reduce that. I mean, if you grow up in certain areas. So the difficulty is theory that if you want to be successful and there's no difficulty, because difficulty is a major part of the journey. The obstacle is the way. What you call obstacle is the way, right? But if for any reason you live, you're one of the 1% of the world that don't have difficulties, right? Everything works for you, right? You infuse that difficulty. There's a quote that says, "Strong men create hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times." I'll say that again, right? Hard times create strong men, right? Strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times, and that cycle repeats. I don't know what level anybody is here. We're all in different levels. Some people are in their hard time level, some people are in their strong men level. Your strong men level is the part where hard times, somebody has done the hard work for you, right? You're tough now because you've gone through your hard times, right? But if you stop being tough, you go to from your strong man to being a weak man, which is a product of good times. I was telling somebody there's a reason why Nigeria, the richest people in the 80s, their kids are not running Nigeria. I mean, I wonder where certain, I don't want to mention names, but I mean, Dangote wasn't the first Nigerian to be the richest man in Africa, right? There were times, Odumeko Ojukwu, his father, by the time he fought for the Biafran War, was about the third richest person in the whole of Africa. When Queen Elizabeth was coming to start Nigeria, what you call independence, right? He was his Rolls Royce, because Queen was supposed to bring his Rolls Royce to Nigeria, right? No, Rolls Royce is the official car it's a British car, right? Rolls Royce was supposed to come, and he said, "No, don't worry, don't ship your Rolls Royce to Nigeria. I have a Rolls Royce." That's how successful Nigerians have always been. This was before independence. But then, I mean, I don't know where the grandchildren are now. I'm not saying they're not doing well, but they're probably definitely not doing better than their grandfather or even their father is. So I agree, the theory of desirable difficulty is something you have to intentionally do, right? If it means to park your car and take a long walk, even though there's no need to take a long walk, but you have to desire that difficulty, right? It's important. You know, the cobra snake, why it's called the rattlesnake, why it's called a rattlesnake is, the rattlesnake is actually by its temperament calm. But for the rattlesnake to hit you, the rattlesnake rattles itself, bites itself with a venom that gets him angry to bite other people. So you have to be very angry with yourself. I just want to state that. And I've learned something just having these commissions, right? That people can actually adjust, right? If you have two options, what's most important to you, to not turn on your video or to learn a new skill that can move your business forward. And it's your choice, right? Whatever choice you take, that's fine. If you say, look, this is not as important as it is to me than turning my video, then you move and then everybody's fine as well. At the end of the day, choices make men, right? Decisions make men. And I just wanted to state that, right? Right. So we can now move on to the class. So welcome to people here. I'll try to make this very interactive as possible. I have a slide to share with us, right? I sort of named my own part of the class as Goals and Growth by Design. So just give me a second. By growth and goals by design, right? And what does that mean? I'll start off by giving us a basic understanding of what's really going on in the world. Please, now the noise is yeah, growth, goals and growth by design, right? Can you guys see my slide? Please confirm you can see my slide. Can anybody see my slide?
Yes, sir, we can see your slide, sir.
That's fine. So let me do a quick intro of who I am. My name is Eizu. I'm a business and management consultant over a decade deep, right? Teaching strategy, teaching structure, teaching. While I'm not a core economist, I've gone to business school 3 times, and that's a safe way to say I have 3 master's degrees. I'm currently doing my PhD. My first degree is mathematical, and econometrics is part of mathematics, right? I've been on platforms over the years. I've been a columnist on Business Day. I've been a regular host, regular guest on Arise News and a lot of other international and local platforms. So I'm an analyst, but that's not how I want you to see me today. I want to see me as a business consultant who also runs a business, right? Sorry, please, just give me just a second. I need to tell my nanny to take the kids upstairs. To just stress. Yeah. Sorry, talk about routine. My kids just came out from the park and I don't know why they're all around. Okay, so intro once again, Eizu management consultant, see me as that, see me as a consultant. My core is in corporate restructuring. And no matter what we talk about goals are just plans, nothing more, nothing less. The highest the goal can be is a plan with a strategy. But strategy will not work themselves. What works itself, what works your strategy is your structure. That's why they say that strategy and structure are like the chicken and the egg. We don't know which one should come first, literally, or we don't know which one came first. It's a catch-22 situation. Strategy drives structure, and structure drives strategy. So no matter how much you have strategy today, and I'll give you a lot of nuggets, a lot of tips, a lot of hacks, and I'll inspire you and give you equipment to drop a plan for this year. But remember that that plan is just 50%. The rest 50% is structure. And part of structure is what Dr. Stephen has even hinted in the class, which is your attitude to life, your motivations, your character, like discipline, right? And more importantly, your management structure, which is, do you have a team? How good is your team? And I think I said this last time, and I said, imagine you're a football coach and you're in the second half of a match, and that match is the World Cup final. You're the coach, and you're in second half, and the match is still going on, and it's goalless, and you have only one choice in substitution. And that choice is to get your best guy in the bench to the field, first option, or get the wrongest guy on your team who is making errors all through first half out of the match. So you have two options: either get the wrong person off or get the right person on. Or Scragger, let me switch it. The first option is to get the right person, the best player in, or to get the worst player out. What would you choose? I want to see your chat on there. I want to see your answer in the chat section. You have only one option. What would you choose? And that gives us an idea of what we need to do differently this year, right? And it's important to look at it that way. Please, for the person who is the course rep, you do have the right to remove people, but you can just chat them to tell them turn on their video. And if you don't turn on their video, you can remove them. Yeah, somebody said worst player out. I believe there's an expo because you were in the last class, so you already know the answer, right? So most times we try to get the right people in without getting the wrong player out. So one of the best ways to start your team is to purge out, or your structure is to purge out all the wrong people in your life. In the case of business, in your team, in your business team, right? There's someone that is the one that is the reason why you haven't gotten to where you need to get to. And I always say that life and business is like that football team, right? You're as good as your weakest link. And I need to just state that, right? It's extremely important to understand that. Now, having said that out of the way, let's deep dive into goals for 2025. We can't talk about goals for 2025 intricately without understanding what's happening in our environment, because this thing called success like an egg. It can either break from outside in or it can break from inside out. Now, when a chicken lays an egg, pay attention to this analogy, and I'm going to use a lot of analogies. The destiny of an egg is to break. Think about it. The destiny of an egg is to break. If that egg breaks outside in, when the chicken lays the egg, whatever is in that egg will never see life. I remember when we were kids, I used to have, like, in primary school then, we used to catch pigeons. I had a cage in my house where I keep pigeons, and it was body behavior. And one of the things I learned was, once a pigeon lays an egg, they tell us not to touch the egg. Because sometimes when you touch the egg, you annul the life in the egg. It's almost the same thing when you plant a seed, and every morning when you wake up, you go and be checking whether the seed is growing. You open the soil to bring out the seed so that it's good and put it back. Okay? Once you open that seed and put it back, chances of that seed growing again is very minimal. So the egg destiny is to break, but it depends on where it's breaking from. Is it breaking from outside in, or is it breaking from inside out? Now, if it breaks from outside in, life will not happen. If it breaks from inside out, where the chick inside hits the egg and it breaks, life comes. So the world in 2015 would be based on two things. Is the force outside of the earth, or the force outside of your business more than the force inside your business? Or is the force inside your business more than the force outside of your business? I don't know if it sort of makes sense. If the force outside of your business, which is what you call macroeconomics, is more. That means Nigeria energy and ginger and force and problems is more than your own energy to sustain it. You are not growing anywhere. But if you are more prepared than Nigeria is prepared, Nigeria is constantly prepared to show us shiggy, right? It looks like if somebody cracked the joke and said, it looks like the president of Nigeria wakes up money and say, which people, which part of Nigeria should we touch today? Which shiggy? Wait, what is there? Look like there's too much light. Oga, pull out national grid. Oh, look at these guys. There's so many cars in traffic. They seem to have money to drive car, increase petrol, and that's in a lighter note, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. What is wrong is how prepared are you? In other words, when the change inside of you, the ginger, the energy inside of you is more than the ginger outside, you are good. So that's why I understood that energy that we brought into this meeting. Are you ready? Are you not ready? If the comfort to lie down and not turn on your video is more important than the pain to turn on your video, even if your hair is scattered, right? Concern you, right? Sometimes, like in church, sometimes when the spirit enters you, you don't even mind, you dance anyhow, even though you yourself know that you cannot dance. But the joy within you is more important than how people feel. I don't know if this sort of makes sense to you. If it does, please let me know. Let me get the vibe so we'll keep writing, right? If the pain and the change inside of you, you see, every human being can change. The problem is, do you have enough motivation to change? If looking at your children and saying, my children have a global perspective to life, so I need to make enough money at the age of 13, if that's your aspiration, to send them to the best school abroad, is not more important than to sleep one more 2 hours, right? Then that's on you, right? Is what's your motivation in the end? So I'll end this my motivational conversation before I deep into why my slide is here. If the pain inside of you is more than the pain outside, you are good. I read a mentor of mine told me something years ago. It says once you pass 20 years, by a large margin, by over 50%, psychologically proven that the human brain cannot change after 20 years, drastically. That's why if you want to change a child when he's still young. As he grows older, it's hard to change his behaviors and his pattern. Patterns are better changed as children. I mean, I tell my kids now, wake up, make your bed. Let them understand that the first thing they must do every time they wake up is to solve problem first before they hit the streets, right? But I mean, if I fail in that, God forbid, they will have to have 10 times more energy to change that some simple thing, right? Solve problem when it's still small, because when it gets bigger, it's harder to solve. Now, here's my conversation, and just understand this. So my mentor said that once you clock 20, human beings can change, but drastically they can't change. The only thing that can change a human being after 20 is pain. Drastically, is pain. This mentor of mine is a Dr. I think you know the person, right? He's a military general. I've tried to not with the same person, another person that I tried to introduce you to. He's a military general. He had a sister who was in a marriage. He was busy traveling. Then he was not a general then, but he was a senior executive in the Nigerian military. So he was traveling for courses, and so he had to talk with his sister. True story. And his sister got married to a man who was abusive. He didn't know because he wasn't in Nigeria. Right, and the man who beats the wife, the sister. He would not know. Other people knew. They said, "Don't tell him because if you tell him, he's a madman. He's in the military. He will scatter the marriage. He will beat the man too." So he didn't know. So sometimes we come, see the girls swollen eyes. The girl will say something happened. To cut the long story short, that was fine. At the end of the day, so when he got out of hand, right, and he found out. He was upset. He got the guy open Mesa to go and carry the guy. He just wanted to know who the guy was. And he realized that this guy has had a reputation over the years from university of dating girls that he used to beat. So that's what you call deep-rooted routine, right? So his sister is just another victim. The guy laughed. And that's why he told me the story that people can't change drastically, but they can change based on the degree of pain. He said that he went to the guy's office and pulled the guy out. When like 4 military van enter your office, your boss will run and carry the guy and told the guy on his own. And this was years ago. I think it was military era where there was ultimate power in military, where the military is beating you. Nobody, police cannot put him out. He said, told the guy to start rolling in the gutter before they start beating. That the guy on his own with suit was rolling in the gutter, right? He said when he finished with the guy and he carried the guy, that was the last thing the guy ever touched the sister. Now, this is a bad example of brutality by brutality, right? Fire an eye for an eye. But That's just trying to point a point. I said, look, human beings can change by drastic. If what you love is powerful enough, right, you will change. Or if the pain inflicted, right? That's why sometimes you see men who say they can't change, then they go through crisis, real life crisis. They change, right? All of us are acting like this is how we are in our family. I saw someone that smokes heavy and he said, my father smoked, my grandfather smoked. I said, okay, no problem. The day this guy was diagnosed, right, of kidney problem. You know, kidney failure has two levels, right? I think it's called, I can't remember. The two levels. One is treatable, the other is not treatable, right? One is acute, the other one is something else. I can't remember. Acute kidney failure and something else, right? The guy stopped smoking by himself. Yeah, acute and chronic. Yes, thank you. Acute and chronic. The guy stopped smoking by itself. Now I've had this question, and let's get back to it. When the change outside is more than the change inside, you are in trouble. When the change inside is more than the change outside, you're fine. Where am I driving with this? Right? Let us explain the change outside. That change outside is called macroeconomics. So in the next 2 minutes, I'll be a bit technical. Welcome to a class on Economics 101. Like I said, sorry, my first degree is mathematics. I have 3 masters, so I'll make this very simple to us. Economics is broken down into 2. First of all, understand economics. Economics is broken down into microeconomics and macroeconomics. Macroeconomics is the economics of a nation. Under macroeconomics, you're looking at economics of the world and economy of the nation. That's why you hear things like GDP, GMP, inflation, exchange rates, interest rates, unemployment. You see those terms are all macroeconomics terms. They have nothing to do with you. For example, the unemployment rate in Nigeria, they tell you is 90%, and it's not 90%, by the way, right? You can't do anything about it. So macroeconomics is that part you can't change. They say GDP, the exchange rate in Nigeria today, I think is 1.6 or so, 1.6 to $1. You can't do anything about it. You can only make noise. You have no power to change it. So macroeconomics, I think you have no power over. What do? I'll come back to that. You ride the tide. When you can't change the tide, act suffers. They learn to ride with the tide and they journey with the tide and they get to their destination. They even do stunts. They didn't change the wave, just knew how to go with the wave. So when you talk about macroeconomics, you're talking about economics of governments of the world. Microeconomics is the one that concerns you, like demand and supply. You can change the demand of the people that buy from you. You can change the supply, right? If you're not making sales last year, you can increase your sales based on strategy and structure, and that's why you're here. Hope that makes sense to us, right? All right, so let's look at the macroeconomics of the world, what the world is right now. The growth projection of the world in the last 3 years, let's explore it. Right? Global economy, advanced economy, and emerging economy. So let me take us through IMF 101. IMF, World Bank describe the world and countries in 4 different categories. So there is a category called developed nations. Developed nations are those things you see when they say G7 countries, G8 countries, you know, that's the Americas of this world, the Britons of this world, the Chinas of this world. That's the first category, right? Developed nations. Then you have the developing nations. Developing nations have 2 subcategories, which is what you call emerging markets. And so there's developed markets, there's developing markets, which is now categorized into emerging markets and frontier markets. Emerging markets are like a lot of the Brazils of this world. Nigeria used to actually be an emerging market, but you see, what Buhari cannot destroy does not exist. Nigeria fell from emerging markets under Buhari to frontier markets, the lower level markets in categorization. And then you have what you call the underdeveloped nations, usually what you call HPICs, highly poor and indebted countries. Those countries where the inflation rate is so big that $1 is in some countries 100,000 of their currency. I went to Sierra Leone last year, Dr. Stephen. 1 naira, so I say naira is bad, naira is bad, naira is bad, naira is bad. Bro, I ate food in a roadside because it's a coastal country, right? Everywhere is by the water. So in my office, I was in the Radisson Blue in Sierra Leone, right? So I walk out from Radisson Blue, go to the beach, you know, I'd stop by there and I'd have food. Like I want to taste the local food. Obviously, me and you have traveled a lot. We've been to different countries together, right? I think we've been to Maldives, we've been to Dubai, we've been to last year we went to Ghana, I went to Cameroon. So you know I'm the guy that always escape and go and find out how the city is, right? So I go to local joints. So I ate their pepper soup, right? And then these guys gave me and they gave me their bill, and their bill was it 400 leon, 400,000 leon. Bro, how do you eat for 400,000 of a currency like that? Like you eating food per person. I tell you, your money is 400,000 naira, even if it's Echo Hotel Prime. But that's how bad HPICs are. That's an underdeveloped country where the currency, and the currency is bad. Bro, if I change my money in Sierra Leone, I'm a big boy. Right? Right? So I'm sure we get my point, right? So understand what's going on. See, where's the world now? I'll look at it from three perspectives. I need to give you this baseline to understand it. So look at the global economy. You see what's going on? 2023, 2024, 2025, nothing really changed. It was at 3.2% for global economy. It didn't really change much. And I'll tell you why. Around 2023, there were triggers that created that. There was a Ukraine war and Russia. Then there was an invasion by, I think there were 2-3 wars in parallel that's going on for the last 3 years, right? Europe has Ukraine and Russia, Israel and the Gaza Strip and Palestine and all how you have them there, right? And all the smaller wars in different packets, right? And all the insecurities, like what guerrilla warfare is doing in different countries. So these are triggers, and those triggers affect logistics, trade, and they affect oil. You see, oil and logistics is the lifeblood of the world, next to technology, right? That's why the world pauses when there is a crisis around Middle East, because Middle East is still the lifeblood of can you guys still see my slide? Let me be sure. Right? But
Yes,
the world is better actually in business for emerging economies and developed economies. If you look at this, you see that global economy is on standstill. Advanced economy is growing by almost 0.1%. But this is what's happening, right, with global economy, right? So I'm not saying an emerging economy. It's 2024 and 2025 is not going to be that different. So other thing that they've told you in crossover service, that this year the world that, you know, I was listening to something in crossover service, said none of you here would visit the hospital, and everybody shouted amen. I said, okay, it's good to shout amen, but logically, if you have a room of 20,000 people in a stadium and none of you believe, none of you enter, you go there, I'm sure you know that you're lying to them. By any statistics you want to look at it, 20,000 people cannot be in a place. Even if they say family members, that one person will not go to hospital. So that other BS is over. The crossover has come. We are gone. Whether you go to hospital or not is dependent on how you want to choose to live your life first. And then pray that macroeconomics of God, which is the grace that God has given everybody, you tap into it. That's the grace of good health. When you have grace of good health, does not mean that when your mate is drinking water, you take 4 bottles of Coke or 5 bottles of beer and say that grace is upon you, right? I was telling somebody that when you travel from Nigeria to abroad, you realize that those prayer warriors that post what God does not do that exist drastically reduces once they get visa and they travel abroad. Because some of the things you're praying for in Nigeria is economics. I mean, my nanny lost her roommate when she goes home on weekends. And I was looking at what happened this is 2 days ago, and the car had an accident and it caught fire and burnt. I saw the video was gory. They can't recognize anybody in that video. And I was telling my wife, and I said, look, by the way cars are designed, if a car has an accident, it cannot go up in flame like it is a airline. That fundamentally, that car is not okay. Forget the accident or the driver. That there's a wire problem that sparked something. You see? It's something we are praying for in Nigeria, is human nature. When you buy brand new car, mathematically, you have lesser chances of dying in a car crash because the sensors work. I drive a modern American car where if I overspeed, I notice that the sensor has reduced certain things, right? The airbag is on all of a sudden, just in case you don't have sense, right? It's called Pokayoka, right? If I'm parking and I'm reversing, it shows me signs. I notice how the speed drastically starts to drop because there's a Volkswagen car that explains this so much that when you're driving and there's a problem, it starts to set up an alarm and trafficator. So here's my point here is, by macroeconomics, right? The future is in your hand. Leave all the story that they've been telling us. And that future is how prepared are you? Now, let's move on to how you can prepare for it. First of all, government has given you an idea of where they'll be spending money next year. Right? Government in economics is broken down into 2 policies that drive government: fiscal policy and monetary policy. Fiscal policy is the policy of government spending and taxation. FIRS, customs, presidency, those are all fiscal policy. Monetary policy is policy of exchange rate and money supply. That's the CBN. CBN has given an idea. By monetary policy, sorry to say, guys, dollar is not coming down next year. Deal with it. Let nobody tell you that the reason why dollar has not gone high than this is prayer. Somebody said that last year, right? Dollar by demand and supply and balance of trade is not coming down. Understand that. So if you know what is good for you now, start to prepare for a price increase in your business. Dr. Stephen, I saw you do that last year when you put out the promo to say, look, from this year, we're going to double it. It's the right thing to do. So you start to manage the expectation. You know, now from clap, then they enter dance. If you want to dance, you start with clap and start moving your leg. We have an idea that you might dance, right? Oh, guys, like for example, I was telling my colleagues that, look, our community, we have a community of CEOs, and I said, we're going to increase, one of them is free, we're going to make it paid. Start telling them now, right? The people that want to leave, let them leave now, right? Tell them that you want to focus on clients that can pay you and the ones that cannot pay you. And human beings can change. They now start to say, how can we afford you? So they can start to move from, we cannot afford you to how can we afford you? Human beings can afford anything. The same people that are talking like that, if you still see them in supermarkets now buying Becky's bag, right, Hermes, you'll be wondering how. So my point here is, you've got to understand that by monetary policy, our dollar by budgeting for this year, by federal government expect at 1,500. That's a bloody lie, right? You're not going to have dollar 1,500, right? So it's good to peg yours at a particular rate higher than today. That's what the monetary policy is saying. The government, let me show you Nigerian budget just quickly so you can understand. Even for people who are in business here, you can even know where to put your money and where not to put your money. So look at Nigerian current budget. Our current budget this year, right, is pegged at 40-something billion, for something $1 trillion, right? Now, what does that mean? Our budget for this year is $49.7 trillion. That is 41% higher than last year. 49.7 trillion naira. Sorry, take that back. 49 trillion naira. That is 41% more than last year. How is the government going to fund that? Right? That's a 41% increase. Now, if you look at that budget, it's tagged budget of peace and economic prosperity. So it gives an idea that Nigerian budget, a major part of it is on security. So a good place to start thinking about is where government is spending money, because government in any industry is the biggest spender in any industry. Even in real estate, government has more budget for housing next year than any real estate company. In security, we have more budget for anything. So why is this important? You know, real estate guys are going to win this year. And I'll tell you why. If you look at the budget, you see that a lot of the money is on infrastructure. Now, once government puts money on infrastructure, all the area that they're putting money already automatically benefit from it. All those coastal roads, people that have land around the coastal road is going to automatically increase if they do not take your land to build coastal road, right? So practically, you have an idea that if you are in that level now, government, by the projection, Nigeria will be richer next year. Why am I saying next year? This year. But Nigeria will be richer this year, but Nigerians will be poorer. And let me tell you why this is important. When a country in an emerging economy becomes poorer, what happens is that the people in that country, as a reflex action, do less buying of brand new stuff and now buy more of secondhand things. They don't make, they revamp and restructure and meeting. You want to say hello? Right? Right. So let me give a good example. Why Nigerians will stop buying brand new cars a lot? The guys in Ladipo that upgrade car, you know, in Nigeria now, you can buy 2015 Prado and take it to Ladipo and they make it 2025 for you. Those guys are going to make more money. Right? While people are not going to buy new houses, people renovate their houses more. Right? I was still telling a fashion designer, I said, look, let me tell you what I think should happen. You are into bridal, right? You sew bridal clothes, right? Gowns for weddings. I said, start up a new business that rents bridal gowns. Does anybody get my point? Because people get so logical.
It's 5
and say, why do I have
o'clock.
to spend 300K or 500K on a bridal dress? Because the economy is worse. When it's just something I wear once, hopefully, if you don't have a divorce and have to marry again, you wear it just once. Some people say, yeah, my children can wear it. I don't know how many people's children have bought I wore the gown that their mother wore during their wedding. I think the taste is the same. People will say, can I get the same quality, right, for just one day? After all, when you're walking down the aisle, nobody knows whether you borrowed or you bought. So repair business is going to be bigger next year. And repair business in Nigeria, a lot of them are not structured. I don't know if this sort of makes sense, right? So I'm giving you an idea of what the snapshot Nigerian budget is, right? A lot of that budget is going to come from loans. So government is going to borrow more money next year, as usual, right? If you look at this budget, you see that they're benchmarking that barrel of oil will be $75. I think is fair. Oil production at 2.6 million barrel per day. I think it makes sense. Tinubu's superpower is a negotiator. He will negotiate everything to make sure that oil production is not halted, including with the restiveness in Niger Delta, making sure that some of our refineries are working. Hope you know that this year, the Bua refinery in Akwa Ibom will probably start. Hopefully, Kaduna refinery will start to revamp, and Port Harcourt refinery and Warri refinery getting better. My point here is very simple, right? This is how the world is. Now, let's get and conclude with how this affects your business. Right. So now let's look at how you can change your world. There are 3 things I want us to concentrate on getting better this year. One is management structure and planning your goal for this year. Right? One of the things you want to do for your business is plan your business around 4 variables. 1, experience. 2, structure. 3, finance. And 4, innovation. Right? Let me say that again. Structure, 1, innovation, 2, 3, finance, and 4, experience. Yeah. So let's start with finance. Goal setting for your finance. One of the things you want to do next year for your finance is, why do I keep saying next year as if we're not in 2025? One of the things you want to do this year is set a goal around your finance and make it numerical. Good old SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound, says that you make your goal specific. In your balance sheet, what did you end the year with? What do you want to end the year next year? Write it down. If you want to make it as dramatic as writing a check and writing the amount you want to cash out and put it in your mirror or wherever it is, please do that. Assume that you should not do anything less than 10x what you did last year. For example, if your last year revenue in total was, let me say, 1.5 billion naira, say, can I make 15 billion this year? Just write it down. First of all, nobody has gone to jail for dreaming big. I realized of recent that the energy it takes to chase 1 million is not lesser than the energy it takes to chase 10 million. Dr. Steven, I'm sure you know this more than anybody else here. The guys that make 100 million are not exactly working more harder than the guys that make 1 million. They're just working more smarter and more strategic. So set your goal around your finance, right? And 2, if you have a team to drive that finance, make them understand that goal and appeal to their self-interest. So this is what I've done in my own small company. I ended the year with a bit of a bonus to everybody. And I told them that every money that comes into the business, the guys who that money came from will get between 2.5 to 5% of that money. Meaning that if you get a deal and it's 100 million, right? The guy who brought that deal will get 2.5 million. Now, for a guy who is paid 200K a month, he sees how he can make 2.5 million, even though he's paid 100K a month. It motivates him. I don't know if this sort of makes sense, right? So make your revenue and your goal targets not just about you, but about the people and how their self-interest is also satisfied, right? So I rather suggest that because the economy is bad, If you need to renegotiate salary with your guys and make the salary, well, you can't make the salary lower, that'd be wickedness. But see, I can't increase your salary, but I can introduce a commission, meaning that I'm not under pressure to give you more money if you don't make more money for me. All that I'm paying you fat salary, what do you do here? The story. Nobody has changed their life by saying, what do I pay you for? And that's something CEOs say all the time, right? Let them know. I mean, I was still telling one of my colleagues, my project management guys, right? Dr. Stephen, we've been in meetings where GD is trying to defend our consulting fee with you. And by the way, I've been Dr. Stephen consultant for over 10 years, structure management. And if you think about how GD is putting his mouth in that gist, you can tell his self-interest, right? When you pay us that our stipend, right? He will get a stipend of that stipend. I don't know if that makes sense, right? So he's inspired. I don't have to wake up and tell him, are you in Gtext or not? He has to be in Gtext because at the end of the month, we'll calculate how many times he showed up in Gtext and say that will tell me how much he's paid. So meaning that let performance be variable and let rewards be performance driven and make it a variable and not a fixed. I know this sort of makes sense, right? Right? Now, let's go to structure, which is where I'm going to. Then under even that finance, create a budget for your revenue. What percentage of the money you make every month should go into sponsored ad? Write it down as a ground rule, or into marketing as a ground rule, or into PR, depending on the business that you do. Me, I'm in the business where sometimes we get contracts where we need to say thank you to people inside there. Whether you call it ethical bribe or not, that's your business. But if the Bible says that the man gift maketh way for him, who am I to not give people gifts? The Bible have advised us that if you want more way, you give gifts. So I know that, look, if a client gives me 20 million, I have to find somebody in HR to buy a nice gift for, to say thank you, right? Right? That is in your budgets. That guy, when you say thank you, will call you to say, by the way, I have a friend that works in this also company that needs consulting or need restructuring. I'll give you his number. Go there and trust me, I'll go in there and give you free service for you to get me in. I hope I've made sense with this. Now, if you're here, I'll give you a template. I will just do a quick, I'll give you a template of how these things work, right? So this is a slide I'm sharing with you guys now. Just look at it. I'm going to just show you, say hello and say I'm in the meeting, so bye-bye. Yeah. Right? You see this, right? I'm going to stop sharing it. I have like 5 of these different things. Now, if you want to get the template of planning for yourself and planning for your organization, there are 2 different templates. Goal setting for individual and goal setting for a company. There are 2 different templates. I'll give you the framework. It's a PDF document I'll share with you. Just drop your email and your phone number on the chat session. My colleague will send it to you. I've spent the last 5 years developing the templates, Wheel of Life for human beings and self, and for corporates. It's based on those 4 things I talked about: planning for innovation, planning for finance, planning for structure, and planning for experience, right? So if you drop a phone number and email, I would get my colleagues to send them to you. I don't need your name. I just need your phone number and email, right? And my colleague will send it to you guys, right? It's template I've always used over the years, right? For example, if I want to plan my personal self for 2025, and I've done that, I'll share with you in spirit of accountability. My life is broken down in 7 parts. That's self-planning. There's another one for corporate. Self-planning is 7 parts. My plan for my family, right? Like, for example, I told you now my kids are coming from the park. If you come to my house at 4 to 6 every single day, as long as I'm alive and my kids are my kids, they'll go out to play between 4 to 6 at the park, right? If I'm not doing this meeting, and I'm at home, I'll join them and play, right? If I'm not around, they understand, right? That's family planning. Oh, we'll go to church on Sunday. Dr. Stephen knew the part of my life when I wasn't going to church for years, right? That is a goal for a year. So when you plan a goal specifically by the different areas of your life, you can chase it and hold yourself accountable. So family, okay, I'll call my mom once every 2 weeks, once every 2 days. I'll call my dad at least almost every day. For some strange reason, I engage my dad when I engage my mom. I think my dad is a bully and he will disturb me if I don't call him. If he doesn't hear from me in a day, he wants to speak to his grandchildren and all that. But that's a structure. So I have structure for things, right? I have structure for, I'll talk to my mother-in-laws. I'll talk to my father-in-law. Sadly, I lost him last year, right? But you see, that's on family. On health, what's my plan for health, right? You open my fridge, you're likely not going to see carbonated water there, right? I drink lightly, but you're not going to see a drink in my house. If I want to drink, I go out and I have drinks and I come back home, just so that I'm not one of those people who in the house when I feel like having a beer, I open my fridge and I get a beer, right? That's family planning. That's health, spirituality. What day of the week do you fast? You write it down. So goals are not New Year resolutions. New Year resolutions are, pardon my friend, they are BS. Every year, I work with iFitness. We built over 200 brands in the last 10 years as a management consultant. The biggest companies in this country, with also humility, were part of the building of those business. Every year, let me tell you this for a fact, iFitness has the biggest gym chain in the whole of Africa. In Nigeria alone, they have 22 branches. Every year in iFitness, there's a spike in their revenue and in their membership in January. Does anybody know why? I'm sure you guys know why. Because all of you did New Year resolution that this year I will lose weight. Then by February, March, they stopped going to the gym drastically. Nike has the same trajectory. People have bought more trainers and sports shoes in December to start working out. All that one is Buga, is New Year resolution. When you get busy, you forget it. What is now more superior is PS, is New Year resolution, is goal, is the strategy and the structure. Most people stop at New Year resolution, they don't go to strategy and structure. They want to say hello. You want to say hello to them? They don't go beyond strategy and structure, right? So I'm hoping this is making sense to the people who are here. So I'll send you that template, right? And then you get to use it. One of the things also I'll suggest you do next year, beyond setting the goals, is for you to Victory, please can you Victory, please confirm you're in this meeting. You just unmute and say yes. I want to be sure you're in the meeting. Or anyone from Hexavia. So another thing you want to do next year, right, is to this year is to have an accountability partner. Right? Now, what's an accountability partner? Somebody in your life who knows what your goals are, right? And is going to be with you in driving those goals, right? And the best way to do this is through a mentor. So one thing you should not start this year without, right, is not having a mentor. Now, me and Dr. Stephen have started a company together, and I mean, I'm very honored to say that Dr. Stephen is my friend. Over a decade, there are very few people who are as close as he is to me, and vice versa. I think that somebody was asking which is better. Is it business built on friendship or friendship built on business? I said it's both. I think we're friends that have built business together, and our businesses, as the nature of our business, we become closer as friends, right? Sometimes we pull out our hat as friends and we argue as business consultants and clients. And now, but one thing, get yourself a Dr. Stephen in your life. That's my conversation here. And get yourself an Eizu in your life. We've built a lot of businesses individually together that we've come together to now start up a company together. It's called G&H, right? You're going to hear a lot more about that when he starts to talk about that, right? We're starting a podcast. We've shot a lot of videos. I don't think I should even let that cut out of the bag now, but we're going to see a lot of our media together next year. We have a mentorship program. He has mine. He has his. I have mine. If you're interested in joining either of them, please drop your phone number and email, or maybe when my colleagues call, we'll tell you more about it, right? It's not cheap, right? I think the Stephen mentorship program is way like 10 times more than mine, but in the end, if you can afford both or anyone, that's fine, or you can do the G&H. I just want to state that there, but you need, everybody needs an inner circle, people that they hold accountable and hold them accountable. Somebody that, because you're going to meet him next week to discuss, you can't afford to not do anyhow. You see, last year, I had so many people go through divorce last year. Dr. Stephen knows a few. And I noticed a trend that most of the people that went through divorce were people that didn't have mentors in their lives, right? So get yourself a mentor, somebody who you fear, who, if anything, if your wife says, I'll go and tell this person, or if your staff even says, I'll tell this person, you behave yourself. If you're the kind of person who likes to sexually harass people in your company for whatever dumb reason that is, you know that you have a board that the person can report to, or you like to owe salaries unnecessarily, you know that the board can ask that, come, how did you make this amount of money and you have not paid salary? Everybody needs accountability. Even God, though, even God has God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. And only you want to be Father, Son, and Holy Spirit in your own business. God has, if you read the Bible, it talks about like the angels, the host of angels, the elders, right? It almost gives you an idea of that there's a governing council in heaven, right? Get yourself a governing council, a board that's under structure. Don't go this year. I mean, I've sat on the Dr. board for Dr. for how long? I mean, back and forth for almost a decade. And I've seen the power of a board. You know, last time, part two, Dr. I don't remember when we talked about this, and we talked about somebody came and said, secret cult, one thing that he wants to grow, but people say you must join something. I said, why would they not tell you must join something when they know you're standing alone, right? There are people you can't even come and meet and say you must join something. Can't you not see that they're already in something, right? You know, if you're not, if they, you say everybody sees something, that you're using something or they use something on you, you're not in the secret court or the secret place. That thing is about community, right? I remember one time I was living in a particular place, the landlord was nasty, right? The landlord would ginger everybody in the compound and would not ginger me. This was in my youthful days, right? Would not ginger me. And people always wonder why. And they were older people. I said, why can the man not be afraid? Has he not seen me, even though I was in my 20s, has he not seen military generals come to my house to come and look for me, right? With OP Mesa van. Has he not seen it? As himself, that he has seen my father. My father is a white garment church person. He has seen my father in white garment robe come to my house. So in case you want to use spirituality, at least you know that I'm not standing alone. At least, no matter, even if I don't believe, your father would at least say, for this one of my son, we'll pray for it. And that's not saying that I cannot pray on my own. In case you want to say that you know people because you have built one small duplex as a landlord, you want to come and be bullying people. Have you not seen San? Have I not introduced you as a landlord? I say, this man is a son, is my client. Have I not introduced him to general? So even if you want to come and lock, I mean, I remember the guys sometimes will lock the door and say that nobody should come after 8. Okay, me, I had my own key. By 10 o'clock, I used to open my door. And that's how I'll pay rent and you give me coffee when you're not my father, right? But you see, people will respect you when you look respectable, you know? I always crack a joke that you'll be beaten if you look beatable. Right? You like to harass people. If you see Anthony Joshua now, will you go and punch Anthony Joshua? Except they swear for you from the village. That, you know, so I'm sure we get my point, right? So don't stand alone this year. Right? You have mental health, you slap everybody. If you see if you see military man on the road, your mental health gonna slap soldier. So mental health always, everybody's mad, but we all know where our madness stops. So let people, and this is not to tell you to fight anybody, but a board gives you what you call fortress, right? Get yourself a accountability partner, join a mentorship group, join a community. If anything goes wrong, you can go to that community and they will come together to help you. This is really the heart of all these funny things that people are joining these days that they call cult and blah, blah, blah. Other one is gist. And I'm not saying there's no spiritual part to it. This is part of your goal for next year. For this year, please. When I say next time, please, someone should knock my head, right? So you guys get it, right? So I've talked about structure is create your community to 3 levels, and let me just quickly share the slide. Dr. Steven, do I have up to 5 more minutes? I probably round up to 5 minutes, right? If we need to do another part of this, but I'd like to respect people's time, right?
5 more minutes.
5 more minutes. Okay, that's absolutely fine. All right, so let me just show you guys something quickly in my slide so you can understand how to build a structure for your business, right? Every company should have 3 levels. You see these levels? Corporate, management, and operations. You are supposed to be in level 1 as the CEO. I have assumptions here. My assumption is that everybody here, or most people here, are CEOs or entrepreneurs. That's my assumption, right? Now, if you're there, you should be level 1. You're not supposed to be in level 2, and you're not supposed to be in level 3. The problem with all of us is that most of us are in level 3 and level 2 and not even in level 1. Treat anybody that brings you level 2 and level 1, especially your team members, as enemy. If you carry operations and bring it to me in Hexavia, I can fire you. Because my work is not to be running around. Right? Sometimes people are saying, okay, so I want to attend your inner circle. My inner circle thing, my executive coaching thing is $1,000. Please, how do I make payments? I say, my colleague will reach you. The guy looking like, okay, which one is your colleague will reach me? Because I'm not the guy who collects money. I don't even see a lot in my company as I am now. That's not where I am mentally. So I don't see $1,000, I feel like I've arrived. Meanwhile, the people I'm hanging around with, $1,000 is not even up to their tithe and offering. right? I don't want to live in that illusion that I'm the alpha and omega. I want people to get things done by themselves. Let me get things done through them. So operations, somebody's not coming to work, they call you, your guy, I'm not going to be able to come today. Why are you calling me? Matter of fact, you're not going to come today, and you call me on a Monday morning, I'm telling you don't come to work again. Not because you're not coming to work, but because you called me to disturb me that you not come to work. What do I look like to you, HR? I don't know if it will look a bit tacky in the beginning. It will look a bit too much in the beginning, but with time, people will understand. People will understand. Even as a civil consultant, I see people that maybe just like every other business, maybe who have complaints. They have the civil number, they will chat me up because I'm his consultant. And in my head, I'm like, okay, why are they not chatting him up? They now understand that this guy is not on that place where he wants to be doing damage control on basic minor things. So be on corporate level, have a board, get good managers, don't start this under a GM. Right? And then operations, get good foot soldiers. Corporate supplies vision and direction. That's your work. If you were to add one more thing to it, it would be network, high-level networking. Anything after those three things is not your work as a CEO. If he's not giving direction, he's not giving vision, he's not giving high-level network, it is not your work. Supply order is not your work. Order is your GM. Let your GM be the one giving order, giving query, giving penalties, calling meetings, driving what Oga has said as a direction for the year. And operation is output, including sales. Sales is output. Sales is not out is output, right? And 7 things you must take into consideration next year is this year is strategy, structure, system, staff, style, and skill. These 7 things will determine how far you go. The quality of your staff, the quality of your system, the quality of your structure, the quality of your strategy, the quality of your skill, the quality of your style, and quality staff. If you look at this slide, I have not gone 10%, but I need to go now. If you want the slide, or you want to join our executive coaching program, or you want us as consultants, I think next Saturday in Echo Hotel, I'm having my first breakfast session for this year. This is just 1 hour, and see how much value you've got. Imagine spending half a day in Echo Hotel, buffet styled breakfast session, intercontinental buffet. We're going to break down some of the things I'm saying so fast because of the time, and I can't go into detail because it will go above people's head. We're going to spend hours breaking down. I want everybody to come out there with a task of their mind map of what they want to be, what they need to do, and what they need to have for next year. That's the framework we do have. For marketing and strategy, there are 4 things you must do this year. You must first develop new markets. 2, develop new products. 3, diversify. And 4, increase market share. They are not the same thing. Increase market share means the same market. How can you get more customers? That's the first thing. And the strategy for that is using technology to drive more sales. You're going to get telemarketers that will cold call people. It's a game of number, right? You call 10 people, they say no. Call 20, one will say yes. If you know that 1 out of 20 will say yes, what do? You 10x that. As I will call 200 people so that 10 people will say yes. You guys get my math? That's technology right there. Have a software that tracks the calls, that automates the calls. Social media. You cannot be the one engaging on social media. Some people tell me, oh, I sent you a DM, you didn't reply. So don't worry, I'll reply. If you know me well enough, you're close to me, you know that I don't have time to do Instagram and Facebook. But I'm always on Instagram and Facebook. Well, that doesn't have to be me. It just has to be Eizu on. So somebody else can do that. So I can consider other things. I don't wake up, well, say I want to be who liked my comment and who did not like my comment. Technology will help you do that this year. Right? So if you want that template, I would send it to you. I would suggest that everybody here, I'll meet you next weekend in Echo Hotel. Now, if you're not in Lagos or not Nigeria, that's not a problem, right? That is not in any way a problem, right? You see, this is my own plan for my company, right? If you look at it, you can see how solid it is. I'm still working on it. I'm still building it. You can see on different things, experience, what I want to do next year, in structure, what I want to do this year, what I want to do, right? So I'll probably end here. And then we take a few questions before I set the stage. But at the end of the day, have a theme, be intentional, right? Be intentional. Every year I have a theme, central word, and I build all my resolutions, all my goals, all my plan, all my strategy around that theme, right? What is your theme for this year? I hope this was worth your time, right? I would see you in a co-hotel. If you can't come physically, there's a virtual version. You can pay for virtual. You stream live. You can sign up to that. I think it's 100 and something thousand. Or you want to join an inner circle, I think that's $1,000. And you want core consulting. Consulting start from 10K USD. But more importantly, you want to be part of G&H for structure. I think you need a Eizu. I need a Dr. Stephen in your life. Thank you guys, and I hope it was worth your time. If it was, please give a thumbs up. Dr. Stephen, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Eizu, for that. I hope you guys got a lot of value. I'm aware some of you are not in Nigeria, but so when it was breaking down Nigerian budget, just see that as a case study, right? So that you probably now might be interested in UK budgets, in Cameroon budget, in South African budget, Rwanda budget, for those of you who are from other parts of the world joining this class, or US budget as well. So you can then see what are the areas that are going to grow, what are the areas where opportunities are going to come, how do you position yourself, and so on and so forth. So once again, thank you for being part of today's class. Okay, so let's take the questions.
Good day, sir.
Good day. State your name, what your company is into, and then go straight to your question.
My name is Victor Bedford. I am from Hexavia. I work there as a project management intern. So, firstly, it's a privilege and an honor to be here. My question is, how do you, I know it's not something you talk about in events like this, but how do you transition from being just a salary earner to being an investment person? Because that's one thing I really want to do. I mean, you were talking about not having the courage. I talk to people, CEOs, investors, and what are you, the likes of them, millionaires and even billionaires, if I should say. But I just got out of school and I'm still trying to navigate how to go into the business world and how to do it right.
Okay, so I think first thing first, like I said yesterday, they don't catch latecomers in the school of success. It's not about how far, it's about how well. Some of us never had the opportunity to work anywhere, and it haunted us for a long time. It stagnated our growth. Most successful entrepreneurs in recent times, when you look at co-founders, you notice that they've all had work experiences. In recent times, they've had opportunity to work somewhere, except for the likes of, even an Elon Musk cannot tell you didn't work at some point, right? But a lot have had opportunity, particularly the new generation of billionaires have had opportunity to work. Are you aware Microsoft has produced now over 4 billionaires in dollars who rose from being employees to become investors? So I think the first advice I give people when you are a career yet you want to be an entrepreneur is the same thing, funny enough, I give entrepreneurs. Start investing. Just start investing. From the little, first of all, figure out how you can negotiate with your boss to stop earning just salary. Let me say that again. And this is for every employee here. Stop earning just salary. It's the biggest, in fact, if you can, if you are a professional here, if you can, make up your mind that you will not touch your salary for the whole of 2025 and put pressure on yourself to go and start selling so that you thrive on commission. Because that's the way to actually become an entrepreneur. Because you see, the major thing that is killing your entrepreneurial drive is that salary. Is that guarantee that at the end of the month, something is coming. Are you learning at all? So step one to really become an entrepreneur is to say, oh yeah, salary, to hell with you. right? So negotiate where you work to say, can I get something if I bring customer for us? Right? Even if they don't do that. And if they agree to such, let that now be your major focus to say, I'm going to focus and give yourself a target. Forget what the company gives you. If they give you a target, multiply it by 10 and stretch yourself. Guess what will happen? You will soon realize. You realize you can't do it alone. The first thing you realize, everybody hear this, is that you need a digital marketer to help you get leads because you want to market, isn't it? You realize you need to get some other individual marketers who still do whatever they do, but on their own are helping you to push your sales. And before you say Jack Robinson, you already have 10 employees without paying salary who are helping you bring deal for what you are selling. Okay? And you can then get a 10% and you split 5-5 with them. Are we learning at all now? But and that's how you practice it. So if you do like this, in 5 years, if you really want to leave that company, you now have what it takes to leave. Because number one, you will not have been eating all your commission except you're a fool. So a lot of your commission will have been going into you are buying land here, you are buying house here, you now own houses, tenants are paying you rent, you've put some money in crypto, some money in shares. So if you then resign and there's no guaranteed salary anymore, and you too maybe want to start your own business in any field, you will have enough reservoir to take care of you for another 2 years, even if the new business is not bringing money, which is really the biggest fear. So I've seen people leave Gtext, for example, and I'll be like, you are not ready. And they didn't know what I mean by they are not ready. I know they didn't have a 2-year guaranteed reserve. Okay. And then these people are telling they want to go and start their business. It's tougher to start your business in 2025 than it was in 2010. Who agrees with me? Imagine the guy I was responding to has worked out. Gen Z. I don't know if you agree with me that it is tougher to start your business in 2025 than it was in 2010. So when you hear some of us say we start our business 20, so it was a lot easier then. Some of us were even still students when we started. We still had some form of support, right? And so it's not a situation where you now have children, you have wife or husband, and then you wake up one day and say you are to help to salary. Hey. That's how it works, right? If you are going to start your own business at that level, you needed to have structured things in a way where you will have already built reserve to sustain you for 1 year, for 2 years, before you can now say, okay, I can go start my own company. But start that idea in the company you currently work for. Start it there. The entrepreneurship, start it where you are, right? The abracadabra you want to do it where you are, right? And I promise you, when you then start your own, it will be a lot easier. It will be a very easy ride. Very easy ride. Okay. Next person is Aremu. By the way, Victory, tell Izu we're doing Q&A. You can join back. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, sir.
Good
Thank you. Thank you once again. This is my second time of attending your class, and it's really been great. So my question is, when we are talking about in the previous class, Mr. Izu to say something about you hiring people. For example, now if I see you and you're driving yourself, that you're wasting much of your productive time. And listening to him today too again, and listening to you today, sir, means that we have to put structure in place, like hire people and all those things. I want to use myself as an example. So last year we made profit, but I didn't know we could make profit and still end up in debt. I realized December last year. So the statement was saying we made profit, but the reality is saying that we are in debt, that we are owing people and all those things. So, and this year, when we're about to start this year, we have not gone to the office this year, but I'm skeptical because about 3 of our staffs had to leave because I told them the reality of what is going on around those things. So now, in hiring people, and right now, we don't have the finances to even pay anybody right now. So, how do we handle that when you cannot afford to pay staffs and you need staffs to actually help you drive the business and everything? So, how do we handle that? How do we go about that, sir?
Good question. My answer to that is simple. You want to think of internship and volunteerism and NYC core members, right? And Izu is, for example, very right. I won't lie to you. I had to also open up to those who work in Gtext to say, look, 2025 is a tough year. The data is there. It's not going to be easy. So what I have decided to do is to toughen up. Like it says, if you fail in the days of adversity, your strength is little. So I'm not going to enter 2025 deceiving myself that I'm my year of goodness, my year of breakthrough, I'm entering 2025, say, me and you, now one trouser we enter, right? Now, I no grief for any 2025, okay? And when you come with that mindset, then you're ready for war. Then you're prepared for the challenges the year is going to throw at you, rather than the deception of, oh, it's just going to be rosy, it's going to be a lot better, it's going to be a lot easier. No. So I've had to tell our team, you have to double up. All our CEOs, you have to double up. I'm not playing with you. And I had to fire some people before some of them knew I was serious. Yes. So I want to encourage you. You may need to fire 1 or 2 people because they will say, that's how a guy always talk. He won't do it. Fire 1 or 2 people. Right? Otedola is ready to change First Bank. They think he was joking. They use style. He's the last MD. Okay? And then because it's a board now, management board decided to do lavish party for that guy. A guy that Otedola felt he has seen so much, according to Otedola and reports in media, that the guy mismanaged a lot of resources in First Bank. And now you are doing lavish party for the guy, right? What did he do? The person who chaired that lavish party was the first person that was fired. And there are now stories talking about a lot of those top leaders, another 20 or so, have already gotten their letter. Don't return to First Bank starting the year. So you need to make an example. People, human beings were like that. Like Izu said earlier, pain is how we learn. So you need to make 1 or 2 examples when they will now see that 2025 is not 2024. You can't pull your weights, you don't have a job. Okay, so I've had to make those moves. I'm addressing all our team worldwide tomorrow. We've been doing aggressive recruitment where we want to grow our staff strength to 500 this year. So, but guess what I'm doing? I'm reading the Riot Act to the old team. We need results. We want results. Okay, so everybody has to buckle up, everybody has to sit up, and let's move through the year because I don't want a year that will be owing you people's salary, right? I don't want it. The signal is there that it's going to be tough. So why do I want to be playing around? Okay, and I'm recruiting aggressively people that I'm going to pay crazily. Like literally, I'm paying 1 million. You can help me push up the recruitment anyway. You can sell 1 million guarantee salary. You meet your target for 3 months, I give you a brand new car. How about that? And you are still getting commission of over 5 million on the side. So I'm ready to spoil you silly if you can perform. Right? Now, if you cannot perform, get out. Or come and be an intern. So that takes me to the second part of what you want to do. So those coppers, those interns, you yourself be training them. Take personal interest in them because they are your lowest team. You are not paying much. So make a miracle of them. One of our interns in 20 months ago has now become an MD. She did 1.2 billion in sales this year alone. Right? But she came in as an intern, no salary for 6 months. But by the 3rd month, She already was making 60 million in sales. That's 3 million in commission, right? In 20 months, over 1.2 billion. Don't you think that person is a beast? Right? So the person was rewarded. We're making you an MD. Yeah, you are new, you will struggle, we'll coach you, we'll mentor you, but you deserve it. And she got a car, right? And I intend to spoil people like that more this year. Spoil, to stupor spoiling. You and your family, go and rest on my bill. I will pay. Chop my money, 2025, if you can perform. But you can't perform. Get out of here. So that's the kind of aggressive approach I think you can use. And I'm sure you have a great year. You're welcome. So next person is Mark Idoko, one of my oldest mentee, but the energy of this man is another thing. Even Gen Z no get your energy. Mr. Mark.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. First of all, I want to sincerely thank you for this goal setting session. Actually, have set us personally has set me on my toes. So I can't come back this year now and tell you stories. I think we don't have option than to do what we said we are going to do. So my question is like this: in trying to achieve your goals, how do you manage bureaucracies, government bureaucracies? I mean, I give you a typical example. The project you know of, we have done everything the authority asks us to do in terms of drawing where they ask for amendment, you have made. They gave us a bill in 10th October. We paid the bill fully. Till today, they have not given, in fact, they even sent us a written conveyance letter. That's approval, but it's not yet signed. They say every day, they say is in director's table to sign. Today you call, they say director is, if he travel, is not around. So how do you manage those kind of issues? Because this is totally out of control.
My billionaire mentee, Mr. Mark. My advice is simple. Um, how many of you noticed, for example, I don't know whether you noticed, I networked more this year. You see me with one top person here.
This year or last year?
Last year, rather. Did you notice that you will be, if you notice, you are seeing me with this person, that person, you'll be wondering what am I looking for, right? The first thing is you have to network upward with people in government, all right? And if for any reason you don't want to network upward with people in government, get a consultant to do it because it's the secret to not giving bribe. Your consultant will have added the gift he needs to give director to what he's charging you. So for me, for example, I don't believe in us directly going to seek for permit. I'd rather use a consultant. He will tell us this is how much he's charging, and his job is to try to get my permit to come out. Right? So that's the approach. If you don't want to deal with government official, I deal with government with long hand. Yes, it's my personal philosophy, but I don't recommend it for you, right? I don't recommend it for everyone, and there are reasons why I do that. But if you want to be like me, you don't want to deal directly with people in governments, then you want to make sure you have a consultant. So I'll give you an advice. I promise you on Monday, you carry hamper and go to that same place and have hamper for director and director's secretary. And I promise you walk out of that place with your permit.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You
Thank
go
you.
there. Go there with very
Okay.
big hamper, very big, right? And there's
Thank
few
you.
change for some boys, you meet security people, everybody here and there. But go there on Monday, if and I promise you, you'll come out with your stuff. But for future sake, in future, either you get a consultant or you build those relationships with those directors.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Actually, in this project, we are using a consultant, but this is what the consultant is telling us. So on
Then
his
you
own,
have a wrong consultant, because your
okay,
consultant is not supposed to be giving you stories. Part of what he's supposed to factor in is he's supposed to have known those directors to start with. He's supposed to have built relationship with them to start with, right? When there's relationship, everything is easy, right? And you
okay,
are
sir.
so he
Maybe I will
has
chat you
not
up
done.
later.
Bottom line, me, I'm telling you what is missing. He has not sent hamper. Cut the long story. This is Africa. Don't let anybody deceive you. If he
It's all
has
right.
sent,
Thank you, sir.
stuff will have come out.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Change the consultant. Okay, Easy, you want to add to
Okay.
this?
No,
Okay,
no.
so I was just almost trying to signify that I'm back. I went to a quick Zoom meeting, but let's add, as you go higher, it gets colder, Mark. I think I might have missed out on a few other questions. Stakeholder management is part of a CEO's work. You know that thing I said, there are 3 levels: corporate management and operations. And I tried to define what the role of each of those levels are. And if you remember, I said the first level, which is corporate level, is where CEO sits. And that your main work is strategy, networking, direction. Under networking, you have stakeholder management. There is a framework, and I'll probably share that framework with you guys. It's called the stakeholder grid, otherwise known as power interest grid. So there are people in every company that has power and interests. Every company, every association, every community has people that have power and people that have interest. For enough, the guy that has interest might not have power. The guy that have power might not have interest. And in that, there's high interest, low interest, high power, low power. So you can have people that are highly powerful and highly interested. You can also have people that are highly powerful but not interested, right? And people that are highly interested don't have power. So you need to know which one. And for each of those, there are 4 situations, right? High power, high interest, high power, low interest, low power, low interest, low power, high interest. It's a diagram. You can only understand it graphically. Remember, Dr. Simon, when in Ghana, I did a presentation on this with your team, right? Stakeholder, and they said, I have a friend, for example, who was one of the best graduates in my secondary school, passed JAM well. His uncle was VC, but didn't get admission. How do you get very good grade in WAEC and in JAM in a school that your uncle is VC and he didn't get admission? When we realized what happened at the end was that he would go and visit his uncle that was VC, he won't greet. He won't greet the typist. The typist thought he was arrogant. I said, this idiot, because you think your uncle is VC. He went out of his way. You know, there are principalities in this universe. People that are wicked. He went out of his way to remove the guy's name. You know, the typist back then, when we were in school, this was about 15 years ago, they type your admission. You know, VC will never type the list of everybody that's getting admission. You can give names. There's something called VC list. He didn't even need to be on VC list. He was supposed to get there by merit. He had good grades. The guy, woman said, as long as I'm here, right, you will not smell this school. And I remember I say that in different ways. I've ever been in situation where police, you act rudely to police. Police tells you to park your car. He has made up his mind in his head that if you like, let your paper be complete. You will stay at least 30 minutes. Right? You see, people abuse power. So sometimes that's stakeholder management. 80% of the decision that's made in Nigeria is not made in the boardroom or in the meeting. Join social clubs. Right? If you're in Lagos, for example, where everything happens in Nigeria is one place in Oniko called Lagos Lawn Tennis Club. If anybody knows Yoruba Lawn Tennis Club, you see that place, one small place like this near Oniko, everybody that matter is there. I was still at Polo Club and Boat Club. You see those small things there? The decisions that they are agreeing on Monday was made there on Friday evening and Saturday evening. So stakeholder management, and if it's not your personality, front somebody that is his personality. I think that's what Dr. Stephen is saying, right? Like I always say, when people know people behind you, they treat you differently. You know that guy, the Oga boy, you know Oga. Dr. Stephen, that's what somebody told me of recent, and I said this publicly about you. He didn't know I knew you, and he was saying that, there's this, the guy's a real estate mogul, big boy, he sells, buys, he develops, he's based in Dubai. And the guy said, there's this guy, right? That guy, that Cosmos Monica gives him money. I laughed. I said, he said, he called, he's not former Edge of police. These people, oh, they don't used to touch that guy. I laughed. But that's just how it works, right? Sometimes the only thing more important than what you're selling is what you make the buyer believe that he's buying, right? It's not my place to come and say whether it's true or it's not true. I said, hey, if that helps his brand perception of the person in the picture, better, right? The only thing more important than what you sell is what you make the buyer believe that is buying. If you even think you're a small body and you don't have the frame to be boss, then front as if there's a bigger boss that you have. I know a man that does this. I mean, if you already have the size and the weight and the 5 agbada that Dr. Stephen has, you might not need to do that, right? Right? But if you are small framed, you haven't developed the eagle not mindset. It could be, there's eagle mindset and there's eagle frame. You know, there's something called frame, right? Me, if I wear agbada now, you still will say, who borrowed this guy agbada? Does he wear agbada? You say, Odogu has entered. You know, if you don't have that frame, I know somebody that is called in the church, called the boss is missing, right? I know somebody that front like he's the CEO that has a chairman. This guy is the chairman himself, right? Sometimes they say, okay, especially when you're dealing with police sometimes, right? So I hope I've told more like, but stakeholder management is a course everybody can take. I'll share the slide if you guys want to have a slide on stakeholder management. Because two people will enter a place, one person will get it, and that person will not get it. Don't forget that Jesus was dying, two people were killed with him on the cross. One entered heaven unmerited just because he associated himself with Jesus. Remember when one was talking reckless in the cross? I said, if your father, if you're the king of if you claim your God, why don't you come down from this? And the other one said, Baba, me, I don't get power out to criticize you. And all of us they die together, but remember me, your kingdom. Dr. You're a better Christian than me. Do you remember what Jesus said? Right? He said, that means even on earth, even in heaven, there's connection. After all, if there's no connection in heaven, how are you entering heaven? Because the concept of you entering heaven is through the name of Jesus, that you have accepted that Jesus died for you. Just by identifying, I hope you know that that's the fun. It's by connection that we enter heaven. It's not by our
Hey!
So, that connection thing.
Pastor Izu.
I rest my
Pastor Izu, I like this one. I will use it.
Preaching, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Entering heaven now by connection of Jesus. By saying you know Jesus, that's the connection. And that's no one cometh to the Father except through me. That's what Jesus was saying. That without my connection, they see God. You're your own or you're lower, right? But say you know me, I go, even what the scripture talks about interceding, Jesus interceding in heaven for us, is the same thing. Say, Baba God, that boy is
lobbying. That thing is lobbying now. It's called lobbying. It's lobbying.
That's Father, that's Stephen. Forgive him, leave him. We go learn, right? So even Jesus is still lobbying for you and I in heaven, and that's scriptures. Unfortunately, when many of us read the Bible, we're reading like it's Greek. All those, we are not able to really translate it to day-to-day experiences. I will highlight somebody in our organization. By the way, I don't know why he puts his title as head of activation. He's actually head of B2B and B2G, right? So that's the man's face. You can see he has beards. Okay. And see he looks like all these politicians, right? So in our company, because I like to deal with long hands with government and politicians, right? We then brought this man on board. He has had the experience. He did it for First Bank when he used to work with First Bank, dealing strictly. He got those state government accounts, got all of that. He has the experience. And so his job is B2B, B2G, interacting with other businesses on our behalf, interacting with government on our behalf. He likes to drag me. I've told him I don't want to be in those meetings. He should go as me. He has my backing. And so you could do that, right? For me, why I don't like interacting with government is that I am too direct, right? By personal, so that I don't create too many enemies. My yes is yes, my no is no, right? And if me and you agree yes, and you change it to no, I don't vex, right? So when you are that kind of straightforward guy, you may want to employ somebody with better experience. Let him front, right? He can always, guy is not around. And that way, even when I then need to appear in some of these government meetings, I'm only appearing as figurehead. The transaction, the core will still be done between him and those government officials. I hope this makes sense at all. That way, it takes me out of having to soil my hand and having to, your boys are here, your these are here, let them talk to him, right? His name is Glory Okodua. So you could do that same strategy that I had to come up with. So that, is also a good concept, I believe.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so we have Benjamin Oyerinde. So go ahead with your question.
Yes, good evening. Thank you so much for the wonderful work. It's been a great experience. It's so enriching and it's worthwhile. Please, my question will be directed to Dr. Eizu in view. And please pardon me if my question is not patterned the regular way. I just believe no knowledge is a waste. So my first question is, Dr. Eizu mentioned how the currency in Sierra Leone is so poor. It made me recall during Charles Soludo as CBN governor in Nigeria, when he was trying to do a Naira redominalization. I think it generated controversy in Nigeria. So I just needed Dr. Eizu to please explain what Naira redominalization means to a layman. I want to understand. Then my second question, Dr. Eizu said his company worked as a consultant to eye fitness. I recall I'm in Ikeja, Lagos here, but I have friends that live in Mowe. And one thing I noticed is that, Mowe is becoming an emerging settlement for influx from people from Lagos that want to manage rental costs and so on. So, in fact, I was not discussing with my friends that I wanted to, bring eye fitness to Mowe Axis. I have one that has an event center, but that is not highly being patronized. So the idea just came that if I should bring eye fitness to this place, it will sell. So I just want to know, does eye fitness work as a franchise? And how do one attract eye fitness to an environment? And my last question to Dr. Eizu, he said for several years, he stopped going to church. Why is that so? Thank you so much.
Only you, 3 questions, Baba.
No,
So Eizu, I will advise you, he likes to ask these kind of questions that sometimes are not directly related to what we're treating, but pardon him.
Thank you, sir.
I think
Quick
he's
shot, I'll make
studying
it
it.
very 1 minute for each, less than 1 minute for each. So Naira
Yes.
it's not called Naira redomination, it's called currency redomination. Currency redomination is just removing the face value of a currency by removing number of zeros in the currency. Macroeconomics is a jargon. It doesn't reduce inflation, right? It's just a perception. Ghana did it a few years ago when Ghana moved 2 zeros. People now start thinking that, Ghana $1. So for example, Nigerian Naira is 1,600. There's a process you apply in macroeconomics. Like at the move to 0, that becomes $1 for 16 Naira, but it's not exactly 16 Naira. That's why it's called face value. It does not have any impact on the value of the currency, right? What it does mentally for people is that it gives you an illusion, right? After what people forget. Matter Sierra Leone has done it currently. So Sierra Leone runs 2 currencies. The same way Nigeria doesn't run 2 currencies, we run two type of the same. We have 2 1,000 Naira notes now, 2 500 Naira notes now. Sierra Leone has the same model where 1 Leon is the official money is called Leon, and this is not secondary commission. I was there 2 months ago, right? So I think I've explained the denomination. Take out 2 so that people can have an illusion, people carry lesser money, but it has more complexity because you now have to change your whole account system. The cost of changing currency is a lot. MFLA, one of the problems MFLA entered is to change currency because that thing, hope you know that there's more, the cost of printing 1,000 Naira is more than 1,000 Naira. Everybody knows that logic, right? Actually, the cost of printing money is more than the money, right? The cost of money is not good there by gold standard. That's high level macroeconomics and econometrics. Understand the concept of money. I think I explained that. I don't know. I will not advise Nigeria to do it. So don't try to do it. It's too complex. It's too expensive for the end user. Because all of you have to go and drop your money in the bank and get new one. They have to print new money. In that process, people will collect machine and printing in their house. But that's by the side. Now, the second question you asked about iFitness. No, iFitness will not run a franchise model. Every 22 stores of iFitness is owned by iFitness. However, if you have land to give, right, we can talk. We have a plan. There's a plan for the long run. While I don't own equity or anything in business, I very insider. My wife herself, me and my wife runs a company by the side as a partner. Also, we own most of the restaurant and food bars in all of the iFitness, in most of the iFitness, right? So we have a plan to come to Omole, maybe not now. Currently, Omole guys are going to Magodo. That's the closest iFitness, and there's one at Agidingbi. That's another one, right? And then we just opened Ogudu. So with time, we'll get there. But don't also forget that we are sitting on data. We don't just go to where people want us to come. We go to where is more profitable for us, right? Before we leave to open in, somebody was asking us why we're not in Ikoyi and VI. I said, no, there's a way gym work. Very poor people cannot afford gym. The very rich people also don't go to gym. I mean, Dr. Steven has enough money to own a gym in his own house. Like that, I was cracking a joke that Domino Pizza. Sure, you know that you don't go to Domino Pizza and see a lot of G-Wagons and Range Rover Park there, even though it's rich people's food. If I'm that rich, my chef should to do me pizza. If I'm so rich, hope you know that people like DJ Copy, they go to Italy to go and collect ice cream and gelato, right? So there are a lot of macroeconomics analysis to it, right? If you look around your area, you don't see Domino Pizza there, right? And you don't see Cold Stone there, and you don't see Chicken Republic here. Please don't expect us to have iFitness there. Like somebody was saying, having conversation with me, I said I should come and speak in a particular place. I said, except you pay me 5 times more money, I'm not going to go there. But the place I'll speak lower if there is a upscale market. I don't understand it, right? So I don't go to where, as I told you people, I can drop my number in this session now. There are places if I drop my number, all of you will be asking me for urgent 22K. My life is too stressful to come and add that, right? So I rather not even go there, if you know what I mean. They can read my book. You understand? I can give them a book for free. They can go on YouTube and watch it. Some things are taught, some things are caught. So there's a lot of logic. I think I explained that. The third one about why I stayed on church. That's quite very personal. I think that the truest journey to spirituality should be found by itself, by yourself. And I'm glad that I found that. I grew up in a house where Christianity was forced down our throats. And when I entered university, and that's why everybody should know how they treat their kids so they don't have PTSD. Right, I really just wanted to find out whether this thing is true or not. I did not want to hear shark swallowed somebody in the Bible, and after a while he vomited the person. If I don't understand the logic of how somebody stayed in the stomach for 3 days, and you told me I cannot ask, else they will knock me in Sunday school. I'd rather just keep quiet when I cannot go to Sunday school again. So I had a lot of unanswered questions, and I'm glad I'm beginning to find them. And thanks to people like Dr. Steven and them. I mean, I don't say this publicly, but beyond being a friend, there's a lot of things we both learned from each other. And I think one of the things I give him credit for is also, even all the years where I wasn't going to church, he was still my friend and not judging. And I think that that's very important. And as I find it better, he's still there. So yeah, I think I've answered your 3 questions. None of them is business related with us, but it is well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
I told you he does that a lot. So next person, we will just answer the 2 of his questions so we can rest. I haven't even taken breakfast. Most of you don't know that I'm joining you from US, so the time zone. I started this 9 a.m. in the morning. So I need to go and eat. But yes, so let's start with you, Joseph Young, then we take Valerie. On mute. You need to unmute, so Joseph Young. If you're having problem Valerie, go ahead. I think Joseph couldn't unmute himself.
Yeah. Hi, sir. I just wanted to ask, what if this is all new for someone who's starting business? I work as a business analyst. I'm helping out in sales as well. Our company did over 7 million this year. That's over 6% revenue. Well, not this year, sorry, last year. So
£7 million or naira.
pounds
Okay.
recurring. Yeah. And
That means you work in a company, not yours.
no. But I'm assisting, I help in marketing and sales as well. Yeah. So it's all new for me, the business world. So how do I transition over? I think one gentleman asked this question, but the thing is, I'm aware that you can buy into shares of any company you're working for, but they don't offer that facilities because it's not. If it's a government company, that's fine, but because in UK it's a private, they don't have that service. So what would you do if you were in my shoes? And then obviously if you started a business, but obviously started last year, but it's not, you're just a new startup. How do you go about that?
Yeah, so I think two options. Number one is there a founder to your business? Can you go talk to the founder of the business and see what can happen? In terms of, and I mentioned earlier, can I get a quote for bringing customers to the company? And then you can then put all your energy towards trying to get the company more customers and then getting 0.01%, 0.02%, an extra £10,000 per client you bring, those kind of things. So it may never have happened in the organization before, but write them and see what happens there, right? You know,
Yes, so I've done that. I literally sit next to the CEO. Sometimes I sit on his desk with him.
What did he
He
say?
doesn't have that facilities. I'm actually very good friends with him. I got him a Christmas gift and everything. But they
So,
do that because
so if they don't have such, you already started your business, which I'm aware of. You just then need to grow your own capacity to be able to run a business. I know you very well. There's a lot of personal things you need to overcome to really start a business because you need to bootstrap the business in many of these cases. And to bootstrap a business means you have to be out there. You can't be in your house for 3 months, and all of that. You have to be out there. You have to go for meetings. You have to connect. You have to join the groups. You have to join network. You have to have your flyers, your banners. You have to be more active on social media. You have to do paid social media adverts on Facebook, on YouTube. These are things you have to master and then perfect. And you then, even in terms of relating with people via email, via phone call, you have to be able to go through the entire process, onboarding new customers, delivering the product within the timeline that is required, being able to manage people because now you're running a business. You can't do it a one-man business. So how do I employ people? How do do I start as a part-time? Do I raise interns who I will now teach to be doing what I normally used to do? Because part of the problem you will face is the pressure of, okay, I can do graphics. And so now at some point, I got 20 people that want me to do graphics for them. Okay, before I knew it, I'm not able to meet up with the deadline because now my delivery time, nobody wants to do business with me because I take 1 week to deliver a graphic design. Meanwhile, people would rather give such to somebody who can deliver in 1 hour, right? So how do I then, okay, maybe my business need to even start from training people on how to do graphics and build website. And as I have a critical number of people who now know how to do graphics, now know how to do website, but they don't even know how to get customers, right? Then I say, don't worry, I'll be giving you customers. So my effort is now towards marketing, towards managing these people and making sure they deliver to our customers at the right time with the right speed. So I think those are the way where you need to go. But ultimately, Valerie, your first number one need right now, because is to join a community, a mentorship community, so that every month you can, ask this kind of questions. I mean, I knew you were at my training the other day, and I saw the spark, right? But I also know that it has dropped for a while. Okay, so you need it consistently. One of the things that I had to do to myself, and people don't know I have that. I came from your kind of background. I'm very conservative. I don't talk to anybody. My favorite time till now is when I'm alone. Like, I enjoy being me, nobody, just me alone. But I had to work on myself to know that always enjoying being alone is not going to get me to where I need to be. So, but what I did for many years, Valerie, number one, every morning, I must consume 2 hours of motivational content. And then I supported myself also with people. I intentionally will build relationship with somebody who's more outdoor than I am, annoying, but they are more outdoor. I
Talk
won't.
to me directly. Why are you going by corner, by corner?
Funny enough, it's after I started talking, I realized that you fit that profile as well, right? The only time, you not believe, I've been living in Lagos for years. The only time that I was in a club, is it a club or restaurant or a bar,
Yeah.
at 12 a.m., okay, only happened last year for Izu's birthday. And he insisted, Izu does club, you go to club and all of that. And I had to honor him for his birthday, and I carried my wife so that my eye will not see corruption. So,
Went to both wives.
eh?
Went to both wives.
Yes,
I want my wife too.
his wife too was there, and she too hated it. But Izu liked, he had a great time. So, well, for his own sake, we all had to tolerate it. But that's the kind of person I am. But guess what? Yet I have a friend who goes to club. Um, so you want to have those kind of intentionality to build relationship with people who are your opposites, who are going to drag you. He ultimately will not change you, but will make you a better person. You'll be more tolerant, you'll be more outgoing, you'll be more conversationalist, you'll be able to also because many of your customers may be conversation, they may be club people. And then you're trying to have conversation, you are so boring because you just don't even know what's going on, right? And you can have conversation on politics, on music, on this. I'm not really your so-called music guy. I kind of like clean content, but there's no music, I don't know what's going on. I know what most artists, I know who they are. I'm focused on their dollar sign, how much are they making, how are they growing their brand. But some of the music, I don't really like it because I like content that are clean and are family friendly. But I'm still conscious of wanting to be vast. I read beyond my field. If I break down oil and gas sector for you, you wonder whether I've done oil and gas business. If I break down, even sectors are annoying. I research about it. I try to understand how it works. That's the way you want to go. I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, thank you very
I
much.
hope you've joined the Sniper University community.
I will look into it and join.
It's but practically free, so at least start from there. Yeah.
Is that the online school? The online?
Yeah, the Sniper University. Yeah.
Yes, I'm with them. I'm on that one.
So sign up on that. We're giving 3 months extension worth $8,000. So sign up, and be part of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ian, do you still want to ask your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want to say a very, very big thank you for this session. I've learned so much. I was taking notes myself. My name is Joseph Emmanuel. I recently launched my real estate company here in Abuja, LSA Properties. Every single thing I implemented from in that company was what I learned from your YouTube. I watched like every single video you drop on your YouTube, from mini estate to all of them. I was able to sell out the first estate, over 50 plots in 5 months. Now, everything I learned was because of you. I want to say a very big thank you for that. And then now to my question.
You have everything is me, but you've not sent prophet offering.
That was
Well,
why I'm preparing to come and pay for the one-on-one mentorship. I'm still filing the money. So
no,
my
but,
question is,
so my advice would be start. Don't let money be the barrier this year. I think he cannot drop a number, so he cannot drop the number again. Don't let money be the barrier. Call him and say, I want to fix a one-on-one meeting with doctor, right? This is what I can afford. Let's figure out, something, because if you keep waiting, you, for example, do not know you may be committing some crime. You may have gotten the marketing part well, but you are messing up the management. You are messing up, I'll give you an example. A gentle guy came to me. I was so proud of him. He was at my training in Asaba 2 years ago plus. And this is even outside of management, and that's why we must balance it, right? Because there's also the practical aspect of core work. The management part, I'm working with you to work with all of you who are joining my coaching. But there's also the practical element that is not even, because there is the core business itself. So this guy, he has done over 3 billion 3 years later. So he came to me, a doctor, and I told him, I said, join my one-on-one coaching, right? So that we can, because I knew anytime anybody that tells me they've done 3 billion, okay, you also have 3 billion problem. I hope you know. Big man,
yes,
big problem. I hope you know.
yes, sir.
So oftentimes people don't know this. So, for example, I meet people who will claim they've even done transaction more than we have done, and they have 0.5% of our structure. So you don't need to tell me. I already know you're in trouble, right? So when I say join one-on-one coaching, the guy was saying the money. I'm saying, money, you made 3 billion. Right? What is $20,000 in 3 billion? At least you can even start by paying, okay, let me drop 2 million and start. Now, 1 year later or 6 months later, only for the guy to be reaching out to me, estate number 1 has been collected. Estate number 2 has been collected. When they did negotiation, the family came back and told him, right, I need to pay more money, else he can't be on site. Right? Cut the long story short, he's in a big mess. He can't even visit his office. People are all over him. And I said, but I told you just 6 months ago. Because this is what we would have resolved. Because what I do in my one-on-one coaching, I ask you all the questions I need to ask. I literally strip your business naked, right? And then begin to guide on, okay, this is missing, this is missing, this is missing. Because sometimes you don't even know what's missing. You just know we are selling land and people are buying, right? How about your contracts? How about your terms? How about your price points? All of that. How about your negotiation with the families you bought land? How about perfecting your document? How about the division? I can go on and on and on, right? So please call Ike now. He's put his number in the chat box and let's fix it. But go ahead to your question.
Yeah, so my question is, I realize in the journey, everybody's trying to like scam you. From when I started the registration to Skumo to Red Hat, everybody's just trying to extort you. How do you find a way to like balance all of that? And then my second question is, how do you build structure? How did you build structure when you started out as a newbie developer in the industry? And then the last question is, how do you also easily pitch to get other people for OPMs from investors?
Good question. So I want to start by saying your first challenge is your look, right? Because you look so young and
I'm
you're
actually
running a
young.
big, yeah, you look young and you're young. you will have a situation where everybody looking at you is already even pissed off that you call yourself a CEO. Because an average person you are meeting is probably in their 50s and they are not yet CEOs. So they're already pissed off. How did he make money so early? What did he do? And all of that. So your first move is to close the gap. Someone like you should never call yourself CEO. Or what you want to do is say, I'm MD. And then get someone like myself or Izu or people who have more prominence and then make them your chairman. I learned this secret many years ago that a small snake that wants to grow big must hide his head under a big mother. When he's grown big, he can bring out his head and say, I am here. But if he wants to live long, he should hide his head under his mother when he's young. So there are some of you, for example, who shouldn't be flaunting yourself as CEOs or chairman for now, right? Look for bigger people. You can hear what Izu said, that they say, now Cosmos guy, Cosmos, now they give him money. Why would they say that when we started in US, Dr. Cosmos came, tore all our estate, everybody knows he's not going to waste his time to travel all the way to US, right, and be visiting sites of somebody he has no business with, and then was in our office, was praying and all of that. So it's easy. And that's the truth. The chairman of our land business is Michael Kiro. So when you say you're a police officer, you want to cause trouble, they will tell you now, Kiro company. So except you want to holler, you give yourself brain. Okay, so if even at my level, I've had to get bigger people to chair our board and be able to front for us. There are some estates we launch. I don't go there. It's Michael Kiro that will address the crowd, address the media, talk about what, we're going to be doing there. And it helps, right? So for you, that's where, and that's why I set up the coaching, let's be honest. It's because I realized what I suffered. Because what I'm teaching you now, I did not know it 12 years ago. I too was carrying my head, fronting myself, CEO, CEO. I just noticed before you know they say I'm a scammer. Before you know it, people are calling me name. Before you know there's a story. I just didn't know what was wrong. Okay. But it took me years to now realize that for them it was just, how can you say you own all of this at this young age? I only stopped having people doubt me in the last 3 years. Do you believe that? In the last 3 years. And what happened in the last 3 years? I networked up from Obasanjo to Cosmos to this. And so when they started seeing me, those now it makes sense. How can he say he's doing now we get it. Okay? It makes sense now. But for him to be saying you should not bobo us here, right? So that would be my advice. But for you, I will immediately link you up with Izu because there's a lot that Izu can help you do, like recruitment. It needs to help come in and help you recruit, help you. But I want to have the first session with you myself first, right? So that I can look at other things aside even those ones, right? Those are even some deeper issues about is the land is even secured? Have you even made moves now that will make sure 10 years to come, they will not come and collect the land? And then, like the case of this, my mentee, right? The story is another thing. Are you aware some land negotiations, I go with a combined team of police and military when I started? That was the only time they stopped collecting land. At some point, I will pay for this land. I will get there, thugs will come, dislodge us. Second, third, fourth. So after a while, I realized, I had to reach one of my mentors. He said, look, the way you do things like this, the day you are going for negotiation, combined team of a military battalion and police, and you go and negotiate. So I remember one of the cases of those land, when they've been misbehaving, they refused to allocate. So I went to Olori Ebi's house. one of my military friend who is a captain. So the military had gotten there first before my own convoy arrived. Then I came with a police convoy. By the time I enter Baba's house, they say you brought military for us. I said, no, Captain Umar, come agree, Baba. Me are frustrated to him to say, Baba, how are you, sir? Say, they are my friends. We are just coming from one. Guess what? They allocated my land that day. And that was the last time they messed with me. So there are a lot of stuff to learn business. Not one of the easiest business to do. But I look forward to seeing you in the one-on-one coaching. Talk to Ikena and let's make it happen, okay?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Eizu, you want to add something?
It's something Donald Trump. So I had a mentor, Charles B of blessed memories. Charles B in the US back then used to drive. And guess who he was? He was a driver. And guess who used to drive? He used to drive Donald Trump. True story.
Same Charles B.
Charles B used to be a driver to Donald Trump. This question was told to me almost 20 years ago, right? So Donald Trump used to tell him something. When you're a driver and you're quite smart and you're Nigerian, right? Donald Trump became his friend beyond him just being a driver client. He drove a lot of guys. I think he drove a lot of senior men. And one day Donald Trump told him something and said, "Look, this was Trump 20 years ago before he even knew he was going to run for presidency." I told him something. He said to him that when you're flying into New York, right? You see the Trump Tower, right? That he pays way more to put his brand on that Trump Tower, right? Most of the things we used to call Nigerians do that a lot sometimes. Right? Sometimes I experience that. Sometimes when you say building in Marina, that has the name of the company. It does not mean that company owns the building. I was still telling my client of recent that had a restaurant in a 5-star, one of the tallest buildings in Lagos on Kingsway Road. I said, "How much is your rent?" The guy told me, and I said, "Okay, how much?" Let me assume the rent is 20 million for a year. Is that kind of expensive place? 20 million for a year rent, or just for the restaurant? That's okay. Go and ask the landlord how much you pay him to put your logo on top of the building. If anybody's entering Kingsway Road, they'll see your logo there. When the person told him it was over 40 million to put it, I said, "Pay the 40 million. That it makes more sense for that logo to be there than." He said, "Well, I told him the Trump story." And I said, "Look, branding is so powerful in Nigeria, right? It gives an illusion. When we think of UBA as, and Tony is king of branding. I mean, that guy has been carrying cameraman since his days of All-State Trust Bank and Standard Bank. So this is what I'm driving. You need to brand properly, right? Even in this type of meeting, Joseph, because you already look young, you cannot be dressing like Ghana man, because I would assume you are a hip-hop artist. Your Wizkid is your mentor, then Dr. Stephen is your mentor, right? So Donald Trump always told him something, that the universe is designed to attack the weak. That Trump act like he's a bully. He act like, "Oh, I'm going to bring down the Mexican wall. I'm going to do this." You see? And I said this in part 2, blemish animals in any religion, whether it is in Old Testament Bible or in your village shrine, blemish animals are not allowed as offering. You don't carry chicken that has one leg for your village to go and meet the gods, because I said it here. Now, don't act blemish, don't act scared, don't act weak. Fear is the devil's most potent weapon, same as whoever is your opponent, right? So brand boldly, don't act like you're weak. I think that would help. And for structure, this is not a place for that answer. Structure needs to be, you need to be handheld, right? Hopefully when you finish conversation with Dr. Stephen, I'll be on standby. I mean, whatever Dr. Stephen recommends, we get it done, right? For other people too, structure is not a commission. Nights of things I wanted to say, I can't even say them because there's how to build organogram, how to create key department you must have in your company that you should not play with. Who are the key positions you have? How do you know who to appraise and who to let go? I said this last time, that anybody that's not performing your company, ask yourself, if everybody in your company was in the same quality of that guy, will your company have made progress? If the answer is no, let the person go. If the answer is the progress will still be the same, train the person. If the answer is, if everybody in the company was like this guy, exactly like this guy, and company will make progress. Please call that guy and protect him in terms of promotion and all that. Right. So structure, I'll break that down. You need to be handheld. You need to be handheld. Organogram, positioning, JDs, KPIs, SOPs, Pokayoka, eliminating waste, eliminating inefficiency. It's a whole journey, right? Right. So for every other person, I think I've dropped your number. If somebody jokingly said he wants to ask for Jet 2K, if you want to ask for Jet 2K, better not save my number. You will not even deliver. The way my WhatsApp is, the algorithm of my WhatsApp. Once you say, please, I have a problem, you'll be blocked, right? So it's like I see that thought you have to block people, right? So that's on the lighter note, right? So, but yeah, structure is important. You don't rise to the level of your vision, you fall to the level of your structure. Every time I look at Dr. how much it travels up and down, I will only say that's a good test to know how organized your business is. A lot of people cannot lead their business for two weeks. You can't. Right, so you need to build that business. So I've dropped my number. If anybody wants to WhatsApp or just send me a message, I'll be able to talk about it. So cheers, good. But the woman who was mentioning and sounding like she's not fit to be an entrepreneur, that thing is called Dunning-Kruger effect. Another word for it is imposter syndrome. You sound intelligent. You're probably more amazing than you think you really are. People who are giving 10 times more results might not be as skilled as you. So stop that imposter syndrome. Right? You are amazing. The universe fears the day you recognize it. I mean, you already introduced yourself as a business analyst. How then do you say that you're not good with entrepreneurship? You just don't know. But if you still think that way, there are steps to it. Join a support group, a community, get a mentor that would help you, right? Volunteer in a bigger company. You see, one thing I learned, and I did this early days of Hexavia. I running Hexavia, I had a mentor who was a former bank MD, Dr. Steven, I know the guy. He had left his bank at the done merger and acquisition. He moved. He's only bank with Adeleke. That's Davido's father. They were high up there. They did magic them. Davido's father in their 30s, already billionaires in dollars, you know. And he started a small consulting firm. Do you know that every once a week I will go and spend time in his consulting firm, even though I was on a consulting firm, because I know his level was not my level, right? Right. Volunteer there while you're doing your smaller thing, right? It's how the universe works. Hope you know that when Apple started, to just Apple, he used to go to Hewlett a lot. Hewlett is Hewlett Packard. Matter of fact, the ideas he had in HP made him build Apple, which is now bigger than HP. Right? Right. Another people he even did that with was, I think, Bill Gates did that with IBM. Right? Matter of fact, when his business was going down, he went to his competitor, who was Bill Gates. Bill Gates borrowed him $150 million. That's what saved Apple. He doesn't tell that story a lot, but if you read it and dig deep into it, you see that Apple was once saved by Microsoft. So that's another way to do it. Joseph, you're not too big to say, sir, is it okay for once? It's 8 o'clock. Let me come and volunteer in your company. And when you do that, don't come as a parasite. Come and suck. As you're there, there's something you already have done that is work.
Okay, I think it's just network went off. Now, the same thing is talking about Mark Zuckerberg with Dell as well.
I remember Dell, when I'm doing analogy, my mentor then had a nice house of people. I ran with, we created one of the biggest communities in Ikoyi then, right? People like, let me tell you how funny this is. Yemi Kadoso, today's CBN governor, used to come to our events to volunteer to help us as young people, because we had, I'll come with content, I'll come with drinks, I'll come with food. I've always been a hangout lounge kind of anything I do that was a community and lounge. I told them I can always gather crowd. I always knew how to get crowd. I will get crowd. They will come him, Wale Edun, Yemi Kadoso, Jimmy Agbaje, that's Shego Agbaje, GT Bank's brother. You all know Jimmy Agbaje, the former guy that ran for governorship. Egbons used to come, but why? I was helping serving, I was learning, but I wasn't being a parasite. So tomorrow, they still need someone that would motivate and bring crowd of my age mate. They'll still come back and say, oh, how can you do that? So let relationship be win-win. All this, Dr. Steve, you're my mentor. I've learned so much from you, and you have not done anything. See, I'm not yet aspire. I'm not a pastor. I'm not asking you to give that an offering. But this universe that we live in, Darwin's theory of natural selection that we learned in biology is true. The universe eliminates any species that hunts too much. When you overhunt, right? That's why you see America is breaking down, but they are planting trees somewhere. They are drilling oil, but they are creating electric alternative car. You understand that when they take too much, they return back, right? Yes, so they came to slavery, they connected us to slavery, but they also gave us some level of civilization. Or some of us not wearing clothes today, right? If you know what I mean, right? So let everything be win-win, right? In America, you're saying that they invade people. Without America, you don't have internet today. They put the first man in space and put satellite in space, and that's why you have the universe. People that succeed know not to overhunt. Don't overhunt, even if the person is not complaining, right? Give value. Hope that makes sense. All right, guys.
Beautiful. Thank you, Eizu. I mean, I want to say that one of the things you want to do, and everyone, not just Valerie, um, you want to, particularly this year, I'm in your country, I'm in your state, I'm speaking somewhere, call my PA and say, I want to join, I want to be in Dr. Stephen's convoy for that event, right? It's a powerful thing to do. It particularly helps particularly for those of us who need to stretch mentally, right? Volunteer to follow your mentor to events. Does that make sense at all? Meaning you are now like second PA at that event, but do it. It's one of the things it does, it starts shaping your worldview. It starts even shaping your own courage, how you should be carrying yourself, right? Because you can watch his courage, it gives you some insider and help you overcome this imposter syndrome. Like Izu was saying, you're volunteering for something way bigger, right? Dr. Stephen has a conference. Let him know, leave the organization on me. It may even be that you now need to go and partner with another friend that is into event planning. But these things begin to stretch you because you have never done an event that big. But now you've helped your mentor to do it. It's a matter of time. It becomes natural to you, right? So please pick up an opportunity to volunteer. One of the things that strengthens my relationship with Dr. Cosmos was me volunteering to take over his digital assets, right? He's been worried, about social media, how it can ruin your reputation. But he knows that I have built a great social media community and I took up that work. My staff literally go cover events when he's speaking. I charge nothing. If I were to have put a price on it, I would be charging not less than 100 million every month, right? But everything is on my bill. And it has strengthened our relationship. And it has made it a win-win relationship. And it's made it difficult for him to be able to say no to me. And the same thing I want to be able to do to you, right? Where you've built our relationship in a way, I have a food bank that is there to me. How do we make it happen, right? How do you make it a successful one? What do we do? What's your own contribution in making sure we're adding value? And it begins to teach you how to see life beyond just yourself. Guess who is calling me, you see? Who can see who is calling me? So that's the end of the conversation. Have a great day. My boss is calling.